200 metres. Chris Lambert, for Britain, holds the championship record of 20:34 from 2003. But in lane 7, Jonathan Kwarko ran a Norwegian under-23 record of 20:36 in qualifying. So lane 9, Sylvain Vicky from Switzerland. Starting to become fashionable, huge rules for every Swiss athlete. Roger Gursky. .20:39 Norwegian under-23 record in the semi-finals for Jonathan Kwarko. National record of 20:54 for Jan Volko in the semi-finals. Second semi-final winner, Gauthier Dutremere. He's inside. Personal best in the semis, Felix Svensson. And in lane 3, Ludovico Bortolazzo. Well, we're still awaiting our first championship record of the day. We had 2 yesterday. I'm wondering whether Lambert's 14-year-old mark can go. He looks as though he's been born to 200-metre running. Kwarko. Volko is very impressive indeed. So from the inside, Cortellezzo, Italy, Svensson, Sweden, Dutremere, France, Volko, Slovakia, Kwarko, Norway, Gursky, Germany, and Vicky of Switzerland. Well, Gursky away quickly, so too Kwarko. Volko storming around the bend. Dutremere having a very good run indeed. Very evenly matched at the moment. Volko in the lead. Kwarko not showing at the moment. It's Volko streaming away. Gursky coming through. Dutremere on the inside. It's Slovakia, France, Germany. That's the 1, 2, 3. A stunning run by Slovakia's Jan Volko. Well, we've got a timing system malfunction. I hope we can bring you up to date with what actually happened. Well, 20:33, Lambert's record does go. Not just a championship record, but a national record for all ages. Jan Volko takes apart his previous best of 20:54 set in the semi-finals. 20:33. Silver yesterday in the 100 metres. Today he's discovered the Midas touch, and it's gold for Slovakia. Dutremere at this point having a terrific run just inside him, but can't keep pace with the flying Slovakian. Gursky, who ran such a good bend, couldn't quite sustain his speed. Disappointingly, Jonathan Kwarko, who had such a good run in the semi-finals, never really showed after the first 50 metres. This was all about Jan Volko, and a terrific run from the 20-year-old. Well, he got silver medal as well at the European Indoor Championships in March. Silver medal in the 100, but he'll be standing on top of the podium at tomorrow's victory ceremony. Down in 9th on this occasion. Confirmation, Jan Volko. Championship record, and I'll tell you, oh, no, it was a legal win, the national record as well, 20:33. Dutremere, personal best for the Frenchman, with 20:66. Roger Gursky, just a bit outside his personal best, but gets the bronze with
20.33. That number did not come from a seasoned World Championship finalist. It came from a 23-year-old from Slovakia in the final of the men's 200 meters, running the curve like a machine and the straight like a different species. By the end of this breakdown, you will understand exactly how Jan Volko built that time from 4 separate technical advantages, and why the athlete many expected to challenge him never found the race at all. Coming into this championship, Volko had already signaled his form. A silver medal in the 100 meters proved his raw speed was genuine. The 200, though, is a different event. It demands acceleration out of staggered blocks, aggressive curve mechanics, a controlled transition onto the straight, and enough neuromuscular reserve to hold velocity when the body is screaming to slow down. Winning silver in the 100 shows you have speed. Running 20.33 in the 200 shows you have all 4 of those qualities working at once. The field around him was legitimate. France's D'Outre-mer had been sharp in the rounds. Germany's Gursky had posted competitive times through the season. Norway's Jonathan Kwarku had run an impressive semi-final. On paper, this race could have gone several ways. The question the data answers is, why did it only go 1? Start with the reaction. Volko's block clearance registered at 0.142 seconds. Legal, clean, within the range of elite sprinters but not exceptional on its own. What mattered was what he did with that clearance. In the first 40 meters, he reached a forward lean of approximately 44 degrees and held that angle longer than most of his rivals. A deeper, sustained drive phase converts force into horizontal velocity more efficiently. 2 of the finalists stood upright too early and gave away speed in the opening seconds they never got back. Here is something most people assume about the 200. The curve is where you survive, and the straight is where you race. The evidence says otherwise. The curve is where this race was won. Volko drew lane 5, a standard position that neither penalizes nor gifts a runner. He entered the bend at approximately 10.4 seconds into the race, a first 40 meters consistent with a pace targeting the low 20s. On the curve, his stride length held at 2.55 meters with a cadence of 4.7 strides per second. Those 2 numbers working together on a bend require exceptional hip mobility and precise foot placement. Any lateral deviation in ground contact on a curve adds braking force. Volko's contact point stayed directly beneath his center of mass on every stride through the entire arc. That is not easy. It is, in fact, the single hardest technical element in sprinting. What's most surprising about this race is not the final time. It is what happened at the 80-meter mark. That is where most 200-meter runners begin the invisible deceleration. Top speed typically peaks between 60 and 80 meters in, then drops. The best athletes in the world do not maintain top speed. They decelerate more slowly than everyone else. Volko's estimated peak velocity through the curve exit sat at 10.9 meters per second. Entering the home straight, he held 10.6. At 150 meters, the data suggests he was still producing 10.4 meters per second. That is a deceleration rate of roughly 0.25 meters per second over 70 meters of racing. A technically average sprinter loses closer to 0.6 to 0.8 meters per second over the same distance. This is where Kwarku's race fell apart. The Norwegian had the raw speed. His semi-final had shown that. On the straight, his mechanics tightened. Shoulders rose. Arm swing crossed the midline. When those compensations appear, it means the body is managing fatigue rather than running through it. He lost approximately 0.4 seconds on the home straight alone. The difference between a medal and 7th place. Put yourself in Volko's position entering that final straight. You have run the curve at near maximum effort. Your legs have accumulated lactate. Every physical signal says reduce the output. What Volko did instead was drive his knees higher. His knee lift on the straight, estimated at roughly 68 degrees of thigh elevation above horizontal, was visually distinctive and mechanically sound. Higher knee drive lengthens effective stride without overstriding. It keeps contact time short, it keeps the hips tall, and it looks, to any trained eye watching the footage, like controlled power rather than managed survival. Dutremere ran a personal best of 20.66. Gursky ran a personal best too, claiming bronze. Both athletes produced the finest performances of their careers and lost by a margin that made the result look inevitable in hindsight. The gap between Volko and silver was 0.33 seconds. In a 200-meter final, that is not a close race. That is a statement. One brief note on the timing delay that followed the finish. A malfunction in the automatic timing system created a gap between the gun and the official result appearing on the scoreboard. The stadium held its breath. When 20.33 appeared, it confirmed not just a winner, but a championship record, and a Slovak national record across all age groups. No asterisks. Wind reading was legal. The performance stands in full. What Volko's race teaches about the 200 meters is this: the athletes who win are not necessarily the ones with the highest peak speed. They are the ones who arrive at the home straight with the most velocity left to spend. That requires curve efficiency. It requires a drive phase that builds without wasting energy on vertical oscillation. It requires the specific kind of neuromuscular preparation that lets a sprinter accelerate at the point every physiological signal says coast. Volko is 23. He has now medaled in both the 100 and the 200 at a major championship. The technical profile he showed here, efficient curve mechanics, late race velocity retention, composed execution under pressure, that is not a lucky performance. That is a blueprint. Watch his next race. Watch the curve. Watch the straight. You already know what to look for. If you want to understand how curve mechanics actually separate elite sprinters from the rest, the full biomechanical model, that breakdown is next. Subscribe so you do not miss it, and leave your question about the race below. What did you see that nobody is talking about?